Hello, Mintlayers. Welcome and thanks for joining us. My name is Sam Patton, and it's with great pleasure today that I'm joined with RBB Labs CEO Enrico Rubili. How are you today, Enrico?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Sam?
Good. Doing well. Look, it's so
Awesome.
great to be here with you all today. We're so inspired by your decision to follow us on this Mintlayer journey. Now, it's our passion to create the tools needed to create a better, more fair world by harnessing the power of Bitcoin. Now, the Mintlayer blockchain and the MLT token are really two of the key pieces that we need to bring this vision to life. And that's why we're here today. In June this year, we released the Mojito wallet. Now, Mojito is the first wallet that will allow you to store and manage your MLT tokens. And whilst MLT tokens aren't available just yet, you can use Mojito right now to manage your Bitcoin. If you haven't tried it out, I do encourage you to do so. Mojito is available for download in the App Store and the Play Store. Now, we've got some exciting things planned for Mojito too. We're just a few weeks away from having a browser extension available that will allow you to send, receive, and store your Bitcoin right in your web browser. You'll be able to pay for goods and services using Mojito whenever you're at your computer. But as life obviously goes more and more mobile, there's a necessity to improve the everyday experience with BTC. And as you may know, Bitcoin has a limited number of transactions that can be processed per second, which is fine for long-term storage, but not exactly great for day-to-day use. So to remedy that, we are absolutely thrilled to announce that as of right now, Mojito has integrated the Lightning Network straight into the app. So to tell you more about Lightning Network, what it is, and why it's a great idea, I'd like to hand the stage over to you, Enrico.
Sure. So, as you said, one of the issue we have with Bitcoin is that allows a very limited number of transactions per second, right? So, it's a very old, very complicated issue, and it's very hard to address that one, right? So, in it took a lot of time to find and build a proper solution to that issue. And this solution for Bitcoin is Lightning Network, right? How does it work? Basically, it's a network of connected computers that is on top of the base Bitcoin network. And the way it works is it's basically using channels. What is a channel, right? Is using channels as is fundamental break, so that all these computers are connected through channels, right? What is a channel? A channel is a communication system between two parties, like me and you, Sam, right? So that we can create a channel that is a direct connection between us, but it also is a smart contract that is working on the basic layer of Bitcoin, so the blockchain, right? So we have to create, in order to establish a channel between me and you, Sam, we need to create, deploy a smart contract on the Bitcoin network, and start the communication between us, right? This allow us to exchange value, exchange Bitcoin between me and you without having to confirm our balance in the Bitcoin network, right? So, for example, I can create, we can create a channel where I have one Bitcoin, and you have one Bitcoin as well, for example. And if I want to pay you 0.1 Bitcoin, right? I can send you a transaction which is a valid transaction, but we keep this transaction between us. We don't publish this transaction, right? And so that the final balance between us will be 0.9 on my side and 1.1 on your side, right? And we keep going, updating this record over and over again every time we need to transact, right? But obviously, a channel itself, it's pointless unless we actually exchange things frequently, right? So
Hmm.
it makes sense in some cases, but it's not so great, right? But the what is Lightning Network doing is creating a network so that I can have other channels, right? And you can have other channels as well. And the the channel between me and you can be a route path between what is on my side and what is on your side, right? So our channel would be a path, a part of the longest path, and we don't know anything about it, right?
Hmm.
I will never know if the transaction comes from you or from someone that is behind you, or on your side. You obviously don't know if it ends on my side or will go on to the other side. So this is also an improvement on privacy side. Um, and yeah, so it's completely different from a blockchain. It's something that is not a blockchain. Just to be clear,
Hmm.
it is not a
Yeah.
blockchain. It's a way for participant of the network to transact in a easiest way, so that it doesn't have to uh, broadcast the transaction to everyone. So this is one of the main issue, right? So think about the way we communicate usually uh, as individuals, right? We usually don't broadcast our messages or our voice to everyone in the world, right? This is
No.
basically what a blockchain is. Like, I need to pay you, Sam, $1, for example. I just give you $1 bill. I don't have to
Hmm.
tell everybody in the world that I'm
Everybody
giving
in the
you.
world that you've done it, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a way to solve this issue, and basically the transaction itself involves only the people that is part of this path.
Hmm.
Nobody will know more about that transaction if it's not part of this path, right? So that's the fundamental idea, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Great. So, in the context of Lightning Network not being a blockchain, right, and the fact that it's connected to Bitcoin, which is a blockchain, I'd like now to sort of shift gears into talking about, layer one, layer two. Now, Lightning Network, for those of you who are not aware, is a layer two solution, as is Mintlayer. So, what could you tell our listeners about the similarities between the two protocols, Lightning Network and what we're doing here at Mintlayer?
Okay, so Lightning Network today operates for Bitcoin, right? So it's layer two, which is on top of Bitcoin. Mintlayer also operates on top of Bitcoin, which is a sidechain.
Mhm.
It's different. Mintlayer is a blockchain, right? But the purpose of Mintlayer is not to create fast and cheap transaction. The purpose of Mintlayer is to add functionalities, let's say, to the Bitcoin network, so that you can issue tokens, you can regulate tokens, and you can create different kind of smart contracts that regulates these tokens, right? Now, the Light network can work on top of Bitcoin, but can also work on top of Mintlayer. So we have
Mhm.
what we are creating is a way for Lightning Network to be a layer three, basically. We'll be a layer two on
Mhm.
top of Bitcoin, but we also be a layer three because it can be on top of Mintlayer as well. And it's the cool thing is that it can integrate the Bitcoin network and the Mintlayer network in a seamless way. So that, for example, you want to pay someone a stablecoin, right? Let's say that you have a stablecoin on Mintlayer, and this you need to pay, I don't know, $100 in stablecoin, for example.
Sure.
But you only have Bitcoin, right? On Lightning
Mhm.
Network. You can find a node which has a channel on nominated in Bitcoin, but also has a channel nominated in stablecoin. And you can
Mhm.
use this node as an exchange. So you're sending Bitcoin, your Bitcoin are going through the Lightning Network, moving through the Lightning Network, right? At some point, it reached this node, and from this point on, it would be nominated in the stablecoin, so that
Okay.
recipient would get the stablecoin, and nobody knows anything about this. Oh my, nobody. It's very hard to understand exactly what's going on. Let's say, and you send Bitcoin, and the recipient got the stablecoin
The
instead.
stable coin.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, great. So then I guess in that particular case, and just to perhaps give some more context for our listeners here. So in the case that you have Bitcoin, right, and that exists on Bitcoin's blockchain, we're talking about basically sending it up a layer so that it can travel across the layer to its intended destination. How then are we sort of integrating the security features of Bitcoin, right? Because I assume that at some point in time, those transactions are going to have to be recorded back down a layer on Bitcoin's blockchain. So how does that interact with not only Mintlayer but also with the Lightning Network?
Okay, so as I said, there are two. The Lightning Network is composed by two things. One is the channel. The channel, sorry, is composed by two things. One is the record between us, right? And one is the smart contract on the base layer, right? The smart contract on the base layer is called HDLC, and this is where we can work when we have to settle the channel. So we want to close our channel at some point, right? All we have to do is to broadcast a transaction, a valid transaction, on the base layer, so that it close and destroy basically this HDLC smart contract. Why we need to do that? Because the smart contract on the base layer also ensure that we act correctly and punish whoever is like acting in a incorrect way. So if the smart contract is on the Bitcoin network, you will have to pay fees, and you have to ensure that you're broadcasting this transaction on the main Bitcoin network, right? But let's say the case we did, the example we showed before, right? So we have a channel which is nominated in Bitcoin, and we have a channel that is nominated in a stable coin. They will have to be recorded on two different blockchains. One is on a Bitcoin network, but the other one will be on Mintlayer, right? So you will have to close your HTLC smart contract on the Mintlayer side, on the blockchain layer.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So let's shift gears a little bit now. I want to talk about kind of the day-to-day interactions and the applications of Lightning Network. So we've just added Lightning Network integration to Mojito. What does that mean in terms of functionality? So can anybody use it as far as you or I opening a channel between us to exchange value, and in this case, BTC? Is there anything special that we need to do that? Is it more expensive, cheaper? Just give us a bit of a rundown on sort of what the key points are of Lightning Network and the applications for that in a day-to-day setting.
So the good point of the main point of Lightning Network is that it can scale, right? So it's very cheap to transact and can handle, as a whole network, right? Can handle a lot of transactions, and it can scale in basically, since every transaction just take very few milliseconds to be confirmed, potentially to an unlimited number of transactions. There are physical limits, but I mean, it's very, let's say it will solve the scalability issue. And also in terms of, how much a transaction costs. On the blockchain, you have to record your transaction inside the blockchain. So, and it takes space, and in the blockchain itself. So the cost of a transaction depends on the size of the transaction itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
While on the Lightning Network side, the cost of transaction depends on the number of nodes that you are crossing when you send your transaction. Every node
Okay.
uh, can can have a fee, right? So can apply a small fee to your transaction. So let's say that the sum of all the transaction is, I don't know, just a random number, I have no idea. But let's say that 0.3%, you can send $1 anyway, because
Mm-hmm.
your transaction cost will be 0.3% of $1, right? So
Right.
it's very good for microtransaction. I can send you like 10 transactions of $1, or one transaction of $10, and the fee will be the same, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
on the Bitcoin network, on the blockchain, it's very expensive. It will be very expensive to send $1, because probably the transaction itself is more expensive than $1 itself, right? So you
sure.
cannot pay for a coffee basically
Exactly.
on the
Yeah.
main chain.
Yeah. But with Lightning Network, it really unlocks a lot more of those possibilities, right? Because the transactions
Yeah,
are much faster, the fees are much lower, and so it really, I guess, in a day-to-day application, sending money between friends or family, or paying for a coffee or something like that. With Lightning, that really is something that's in reach now, as opposed to trying to do it directly on Bitcoin's blockchain.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, excellent. So let's talk about, because not everything is just a magic bullet. Let's talk about some of the drawbacks of Lightning Network. What are kind of the issues with that network as you see it?
I think one of the main issue we have is it's different from everything else, right? So it's different from a credit card, for example. You just swipe and everything works.
Sure.
So the user experience of the credit card is very um, easy, okay, unless you have
Yeah.
problems where the security
Card
calls
is
you to
declined.
ensure
Yeah,
that,
of
and
course.
it's declined
Yes.
for whatever reason. So but their day-to-day usage, like if you are in a bar, just works, right? So
Mhm.
it's very easy. The other but it's also different from Bitcoin itself, right? So if you want to send one Bitcoin to someone, just sign the transaction, broadcast the transaction, and it's ready, right? You don't have to
Mhm.
do any setup or anything. You just have your
Yeah.
Bitcoin in your wallet, and it's easy, right? It takes some, it's true, it takes some times, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the congestion to get confirmed, but it's
Of course.
I mean, you can see it on that the transaction is there from your wallet, even if it's not confirmed, right? So it's let's say you can double spend whatever. Yes, true. You have to wait for confirmation if you want to make sure. But I mean, it's the word usage, and it's the way it works is very easy. On the Lightning Network, things are a little more complicated because of the
Mhm.
existence of these channels, right? So the channel has a capacity, and the capacity depends on, and also not just the capacity, two capacities. Because, for example, if I have at some point I have two Bitcoin in our channel, right? I have two Bitcoin, and you have zero Bitcoin. We can transact on one side, like you can allow our channel can be used by others to transact on
Mhm.
one side, but cannot be used on the other side, because you have zero
Right.
balance to send to me, right? And
Mhm.
also the maximum capacity depends on the side and the amount on that side. So
Mhm.
when you create, when you have, let's say that you want to send someone, like Bob, which is behind me, right? Somewhere
Mhm.
behind me, like one Bitcoin, and there is no availability between us of one Bitcoin, you cannot send it, right?
Right.
And this create a lot of so this creates two issues. One is I have to open channels and load Bitcoin in the network to be able to spend it. And the other
Yes.
issue is I need to understand the capacity of my channel and balance the channel to maximize, the throughput of our channel. Now,
Sure.
there are ways to make this transparent and so on, but we are still working on this stuff, and it's not so easy. And it's not so easy to understand for the regular user, right? So let's
Sure.
say it's still a little more complicated than just wiping a credit card.
Of course, of course. But definitely, the proof of concept is there and it's ready to use today, right? So this is
Yeah.
stuff that people can get in, and assuming that there is capacity within your channel, then certainly transactions happen much quicker than they would otherwise happen on just the regular Bitcoin blockchain. The fees are much lower, and generally speaking, we'd say that it's a positive thing to be able to use and add to the wallet as well.
Absolutely, better to have it rather than not having it. Yeah, and also it's part of our
Absolutely.
plan, like for the DEX as well, right? So as I said, with the example before, right, you can use your node as a DEX, right? Actually, and also you can charge and you can something and make it maybe even if you operate like a node, maybe even charging something for every transaction that moves there, and make some money, I guess.
Great. Excellent. Well, we all like the sound of that. Okay, so any closing thoughts on Enrico, the wallet, the release of Lightning Network here? Anything else that the listeners need to know?
Yeah, well, it's just the beginning. So we have at the moment is still. I want to stress that it's just Bitcoin, right, at the moment. But the goal is that would be a seamless integration with the whole Mintlayer network, so that you will be able to use the Lightning Network and and the Mojito wallet with every token that is issued on Mintlayer. So stable coins, utility tokens, security tokens, and everything that will be issued on Mintlayer will be available inside the Mojito wallet and the Lightning Network as well.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there for the time being. But thank you all for joining us. This is quite a big moment in the roadmap, and the wallet is really a core part of creating this infrastructure that we need in this journey to a fairer world. So if you haven't already, please make sure you do download the Mojito wallet in the App Store and the Play Store. It's available for download right now, and Lightning Network is live. So you can get in and you can start using that to transact with everybody else. And please do, if you're not already part of the community, come jump on, join us on Telegram. Keep your eye out on the announcements channel for upcoming releases on Mojito and news in the Mintlayer journey. Apart from that, thanks for your time today, Enrico, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. Bye for now.